Welcome back to Tactical Tuesday with Johnny Tiger on June 28, 2022. So we've been throwing around this word for tactical, and as I mentioned before, uh, nowadays tactics, almost a word, a term, just for marketing purposes. You walk into a dojo or a martial arts studio, and so what tactics this, tactical that, combat this, and you buy knives and self-defense stuff on the internet on Amazon. Tactical knife, combat knife, uh, uh, army model, or military survival, defense. All these words being thrown around because they know that's what people are looking for. But with that said, today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about a very big part of martial art that you don't usually get to see it. You don't usually experience it unless you're a little bit more seasoned and you have been practicing for a while. But it's one of the most important parts in self-defense in martial art that unfortunately doesn't get talked about as much because it is a concept that is a little bit more intangible, hard to explain. It's one of those things like if you were a child and you ask your mother, Mom, what does it feel like to be in love? Well, your mom may try to explain it to you, but 9 out of 10, the explanation won't make any sense to you whatsoever. And it's going to come down to you'll know it when you feel it. This term, this concept that we're going to talk about today is tactical thinking. So what is tactical thinking and why is it so important? First, tactical thinking is when your brain have to make a sudden, instantaneous decision while you're under immense amount of pressure, and that decision is going to affect if you're going to get hurt or not. Are you going to get out of harm's way or not? Are you going to put yourself in a more advantageous position or not? All this happens inside the brain instantaneously. When that punch is coming, do I duck? Do I block? Do I take the hit because I have some other motive in mind? When a person suddenly come out with a knife from their pocket, uh, do I grab the wrist? Do I hit the head? Do I run away? When that roundhouse kick is coming in, do I pass it on the left? Do I pass it on the right? When I'm fighting a person, do I face them head on, do a square stance, or do I face them sideline in a side stance or bladed stance? We'll talk about stances a little bit more in next episode. I actually did I planned on talking about stances today, but then I thought let's get tactical thinking out of the way because it's so important and it really doesn't get enough spotlight. So that is tactical thinking. The momentary, the instantaneous decision making in your head while that fist is coming at your face, while that person already got a couple of good kicks in and you're sore, you're tired, you're scared, but your brain is still cool and thinking, okay, if I step this way, this is going to happen. I step that way, that's going to happen. That you still have that chess player mindset. And this is very, very, very important. This is the kind of thing that's going to make you or break you in a fight, in a self-defense situation. It doesn't matter how much body conditioning you get. Doesn't matter how tough your knuckles are. Doesn't matter what kind of fancy techniques you do. If you don't have a tactical mind, the first time, the second time, the third time, within 5 times of you getting into a real world conflict, and if you're unfortunate enough to get it in with someone who know a little bit of what they're doing, you are going to get owned really, really, really bad. So, how do we practice this elusive concept? Because it's not the kind of thing that you can practice by doing 1,000 push-ups. It's not the kind of thing that you can practice by just doing drills in class. Drills are good, don't get me wrong. They're great because give me a controlled scenario, controlled environment. But it is horrible for tactical thinking because once you've done the same drill 100 times, the knife always comes this angle, and you always block here, and then you step in. The knife comes from this angle, you block here, you step in. You always know what's going to happen. So the moment you're out there, and the person that for some reason this person assaulting you did not read the same script as you did. So this person does something totally wonky like this, up, stabbing down with a uh, backhand, a very improbable, almost a no-no in the martial arts circle. You don't stab like this, but some people don't know that. They didn't go to martial arts school. Maybe they grew up doing that. Okay? Suddenly you don't know how to deal with that. Your brain freezes up because you didn't train tactical thinking. You didn't train yourself on how to deal with unknown circumstances. And no, some people, this is one myth that I'll debunk here. Some people say if I read enough books, if I read enough manuals, if I watch enough UFC, if I watch enough fights, if I watch street fights on YouTube, that's training my tactical thinking. No, it's not. Why? Because it is so easy to come up with a solution when you're not under pressure. When you are watching something on TV going on, when you are reading books, when you are looking at diagrams, your brain is in that calm, collected, you're sitting down, you're comfortable. It's easy for you to say, oh, this guy is throwing this punch, that guy should do that. Oh, yeah, 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 there it is. This guy should duck down, this guy just did the wrong thing. It is very easy to criticize when you're on the sideline like this. I had a friend, I had a friend who didn't know how to fight whatsoever. He never trained, never worked out, never fought in any kind of martial art capacity. But he was very fond of telling me, he said, Johnny, I don't know why those UFC fighters, they're so stupid. I don't know why they're so stupid. I said, what do you mean they're stupid? I mean, I kind of agree some of them are, but why do you say they're stupid? And he said, you know how you guys throw those big kicks that are coming from the side? I said, oh, you mean the roundhouse kick? He said, yeah, those. It's so easy. Every time those things happen, I said, grab his leg, grab his leg. Oh, you didn't grab his leg. Like, how come they're so stupid? They don't grab the leg. I said, dude, you obviously have not ever been in that circumstance before. You don't realize that when the guy in front of you is going to punch you, take you down, grab you, hit you with the elbow and knee, how difficult it is to anticipate this big roundhouse kick coming and have your hand down here in time to grab it. It's not that easy. It looks easy from the side, but it's not that easy. So in his case, His brain, while he's sitting there drinking beer, watching UFC, tell him he knows the right thing to do. But I will guarantee you, you put him in a fight, he will never get that to work. Okay? So he might know the right thing to do, but his tactical mind is not going to engage and do him any good in a real conflict. So the only way, well, the only real way for you to train your tactical thinking is to spar, 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 to compete, and not always in the same place, location, not always with the same people. The more people you spar with, the more people you compete against, the better trained you are to deal with scenarios that you never felt before, never seen before, never heard of before. I'm very passionate about tactical thinking being very important because for me, as a blind person, for me as a blind martial arts instructor, as a blind self-defense expert, for me as a blind fighter, half of my game is tactical thinking. I can't see you. I can't see when you are going to come and throw a punch at my face. I can't hear when you're going to throw that roundhouse kick. So a lot of it comes down to what's going on in my brain. Okay, the moment I engage, I need to be able to second guess what you're going to do. I need to be able to set you up for what I need to do. I need to make you go where I need you to go so I can throw in that big powerful hook to put you down. And I need to think what happened when my big powerful hook misses, and then I have to have contingency for that. So for me, as a blind person doing martial art, tactical thinking is half of my game, maybe two-thirds of my game. Now, a lot of people who drive a car, you practice defensive driving, and good news is that also contributes to your tactical thinking ability. If you are used to dealing with sudden uh, scenarios, sudden situations on the road, then your tactical mind is very sharp. Um, this also applies, and this is going to sound totally ridiculous for me to say it, but for people who play first-person shooting video game, driving video game, fighting video game, the kind of video game that require fast action, fast thinking, uh, for you to not get killed or not lose a life. These things are some of the best way to train your tactical thinking ability. But of course, the tactical thinking you are training from driving, from playing video games, don't usually translate to fighting. If you want to have a sound tactical mind when you are fighting, when you are defending yourself, then the real only way is to fight, to spar, to test your stuff against people stuff, especially people that you don't know, people you don't train with. So with all that said, um, I know this is turning out to be another kind of a lecture uh, kind of session, but I'm going to give you guys some little Easter eggs to take home with. I'm going to give you guys some examples of tactical thinking, uh, some examples of tactics, and some of these things that should, when they happen, click in your brain should automatically tell you to do the right thing in these scenarios. So I don't expect you guys to memorize all these things. I'm just giving you guys these as examples to let you know what I'm talking about when we say tactical thinking. Number one, uh, this one is something a bit of a cliche, but it is a good one. You run towards gun and you run away from knife. This, like I said, it's a cliche. Of course, we hear this all the time, but this is very important. Okay, if you ever get into a self-defense situation, you got to instantly be able to remember which way to move. If you run toward a knife, you are going to die. You run away from the gun, you are going to die. Okay, this is very important stuff. Now, let me clarify this for people who might have the wrong idea about this. Because I already hear some people say, "What do you mean run toward a gun? You're just going to get shot in the face." Okay, so running away from the knife, this applies. Okay, this is just you don't go more accurate than that. Okay? You don't want to go toward a knife. The only time, the only time that you will go toward the knife is, well, actually, there's two scenarios. One, if there's no way to run. If you are like me, blind dude, can't run, worse shit. Okay, then that you have no choice. You have to rush the guy with the knife. You got to try to take control of the situation. Second is, unless you are trying to rescue somebody, but then even that is very chancy. If you rush the person, and let's say I'm holding this person hostage, and you rush me, most likely you got the hostage killed. Okay, so yeah, watch out for that. Now, the running toward gun, this one takes a bit of explanation, right? Because yes, you're right. Running towards a gun sounds totally ridiculous. You're going to get shot in the face. Running towards a gun only applies if the gunman is within 5 feet, 6 feet, okay, this lunging distance. Then you can run towards the gun. If I'm all the way across the room pointing a gun at you, telling you not to move, yeah, you don't want to run toward me because most likely you will get shot. But if me and Bruce is like this distance, like just outside the reach, then if Bruce tries to run away, he's just going to get shot full of holes. So he has a much bigger chance if he deflects my gun and then come in right away. Because as long as he stay close to me and keep my gun turned away, this gun is totally useless. There's not much I can do with that. Okay? So if a person is within this kind of lunging range and you have no choice but to do something about it, then yes, you want to try to control the gun and make sure it's pointed elsewhere rather than your face. Now, why don't you do that with a knife? Because most likely, if you try to do that with a knife, you will get killed. Right? If I'm outside, if I'm at this lunging distance, okay, holding a knife, and Bruce trying to be a hero, and he's trying to lunge in and grab my knife, I'm just going to cut his hand and stab him in his belly. I'm going to cut his arm and cut his face, right? A knife, I can work so many angles. At close quarter, you do not want to rush a knife. Okay? That's number one. Run toward the gun uh, with a little bit of common sense and run away from the knife. Number two, since we already have a knife in play, let's cover another knife-related topic. If you do have to engage someone, if you do have to get in close with someone with a knife, then you want to pass on the outside. You never want to enter on the inside. And let me show you guys what I mean. This is a little bit difficult to show without a life partner, but let me uh, illustrate this. Let's say I'm menacing Bruce with a knife, and then Bruce passes on the inside, which means inside toward my body. Okay, he passes and toward my face, coming close between my arms, so to speak, or even toward the opposite side of the knife holding hand. Let's say I hold my knife in my right hand, and Bruce passes me, he charges in, and he comes in from the left. Why is this a no-no? Because when you pass on the inside, you run so much risk. Look at what I can do from here. Let's say he gets his arm around my neck. He's restraining me. My knife go here into the belly, into the face, down into the arm, down into the leg. He will get killed. Okay, if he passes the knife on the inside. Now look at another scenario. If I menace Bruce with a knife, and he passes on the outside. As long as he control my wrist on the outside, so if I have my knife in the right hand, he want to pass on the right, so outside my guard. Okay, because from the outside, he can prevent himself from being grabbed by my free hand, and as long as he controls the wrist, I have a harder time slashing him. I might cut off his arm, but until I throw the knife into my other hand, he's pretty safe. Okay? So if you have to engage into a physical contest against someone with knife, pass on the outside, never pass on the inside. Tactical thinking example number two. Example number three. Don't try to do a single leg takedown when a person is throwing an uppercut or a hook. Why an uppercut? Well, this one is a little bit obvious. My hand is down here and punch upward. If you shoot in at this moment to try to do a single leg takedown, you try to grab my leg, pow! I'm going to hammer you right on the neck or punch you right in the face, right? My hand's already down here. So if a person is going to work in the uppercut, your best bet is to wait until his person is wind up down here, crouching, punch him in the face. Okay, that's a much better, much more tactical way to do this. Why not a hook? A lot of people will make this mistake when a person throws this big left hook, and because my left leg is forward, the person is going to dive in, try to grab my leg, and that usually fails really badly. Why? Because when a person throws a hook, especially if the left hook and the person's left leg is the lead leg, there's that one instant where all my weight is on my left foot. When I throw that hook, all my weight transfers to my forward foot. You are not going to be able to pick that up. You, you won't be able to pick this leg up. Trust me, if the person is throwing a hook. So yeah, don't even try that. If you see a hook, don't think, oh yeah, the hook is nice and high. Leave all this space. I can duck under and grab the leg. No, because all the weight is on that leg. You won't be able to get it. Next, last but not least, well, I mean, not last, and last one for today, because I can sit here and wax tactical thinking and tactics all day long, but honestly, it's the kind of thing that you have to develop for yourself. You can't just memorize everything I say, because even if you memorize everything, even if you swallow all the martial art manual in the world, until you actually put it to use in sparring, these things won't work. Okay, but okay, last but not least, when you're dealing with someone throwing a roundhouse kick, don't sidestep in the direction of the kick, which means if my roundhouse kick comes from my right leg, traveling towards the left, you do not want to sidestep to the left. Why is that? Because you are just setting yourself up for an even harder kick. Okay, if I roundhouse kick and you step to the left, I'm just going to throw another one, and this one's going to be even harder because I have uh, longer setup for the momentum. So if you are dealing with someone throwing a hook or a roundhouse kick, you want to sidestep. Well, preferably you don't sidestep, preferably you just step back. But if you have to sidestep, step to the direction where that attack comes from. So if I throw a left hook, you do not want to step to the right because my punch is traveling to the right. If you step to the right, you set yourself up for my right cross. Okay? So if I throw a left hook, you want to step to my left, aka your right. This way, you might set yourself up for a back hammer fist, but if your guard is properly up, then that's okay. Yeah? So at least you're not going to get an immediate punishment. Same thing. If I throw my right roundhouse kick, you do not want to step in the direction of that where that kick is traveling because you're going to set yourself up for something else. Step to the origin of that kick. If I throw my right roundhouse kick and you step to my right, then and let's say you're quick enough that you jump right in, so my leg can't retract. There's going to be one instant where I'm totally off balance because you are in my space and I'm all jammed up. I'm kind of sideways. Okay, so get yourself a little bit of that breathing room, that advantage in the fight with some proper tactical thinking. Thank you for checking out today's Tactical Tuesday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Wisdom Wednesday. For now, have a good night.